Married for 3 years, my wife consistently refused to be a real couple with me. The reason was her lack of libido. She had a phobia about that sort of thing. Just when I resigned myself to being a monk for life, suddenly Ling Wan changed her mind, promising to give herself to me on her 25th birthday. After a year of anticipation, when the promised day arrived, she stood me up again. As before, she left without a word and flew abroad with her best friend for a trip. I was utterly disappointed and drove home in a daze, where I had a serious car accident. As I lay dying, I regretted falling in love with Ling Wan. I vowed, if there is an afterlife, I will never love her again. Friends and family envied me for marrying a beautiful and capable CEO wife. But no one knew my unspeakable suffering. I could only admire my wife's beauty from afar, unable to possess it. Ling Wan has been married to me for 3 years and still won't let me touch her. The reason, she says, is that she has a low libido. She has a phobia about that sort of thing. I've liked her since junior high school. I couldn't bear to separate from the woman I loved for a full 13 years. Just when I resigned myself to accepting being a monk for the rest of my life, Ling Wan suddenly changed her mind. That night, in the early hours, I made her a bowl of her favorite seafood noodles. I don't know if she was moved or what. After taking a bite, she suddenly rushed into the kitchen, hugged me tightly from behind, pressed her face against my back, and said seriously, "Ahang, I made up my mind. You've loved me for a full 13 years, and I can't selfishly let you live a lonely life just because I'm indifferent, disgusted, and afraid of that sort of thing. Ahang, I've decided to give myself to you on my 25th birthday. Is that okay?" Ling Wan's change made me cry tears of joy. I nodded with tears in my eyes and a smile. "Okay, anything you say." I spun her around several times, and after a series of passionate kisses, I gradually calmed my excited mood. Under my eager anticipation, Ling Wan's 25th birthday soon arrived. Ling Wan loves romance. So, I finished my work early and went home behind her back to decorate the house. I worked hard all day and finally decorated the house to my satisfaction. Then, I prepared a candlelight dinner. Only then was I satisfied and rushed to the company to pick her up and give her a surprise. But when I happily pushed open the door to her office, I found it empty. So I called her cell phone, only to hear that it was turned off. I immediately felt something was wrong, but I comforted myself with the hope that her phone was just out of battery. I searched the entire company, but couldn't find her. Finally, I contacted her assistant, who told me that she had secretly gone on a trip abroad with her best friend, Song Yujia, without telling me. It's Song Yujia again. Between me and her best friend, she always chooses her best friend. She has canceled plans on me countless times because of her best friend. She promised me in person that she would give herself to me today on her 25th birthday. I've been looking forward to it for a whole year. I happily decorated the house all day. In the end, she secretly flew abroad with her precious best friend without even saying a word to me. Not even heads up. All my preparations have become a joke. She had ditched me for her best friend countless times, but never once had it hurt me like today. For the first time, I deeply resented her best friend. Why? Why did Ling Wan have to do this to me? Why did her best friend, Song Yujia, always take her away when I needed Ling Wan the most? Wah. I cried and laughed and screamed, roaring in the heavy rain. I couldn't understand. I really couldn't understand. Why did they torture me like this again and again? Heartbroken and distraught, I drove home. Bang! A loud crash. As I turned, a truck hit me, and my car rolled several times before coming to a shaky stop on its side. The car was a mangled wreck, just like me, unrecognizable and covered in blood. As my blood gushed out like a fountain, in my final moments, a bitter smile crept onto my face. I seemed to see my short life flash before my eyes. Finally, I breathed my last unwillingly. Before I died, I regretted falling in love with Ling Wan. I vowed, if there is an afterlife, I will never love her again. Ahang. Husband, what's wrong? I suddenly opened my eyes, lying on a spacious office sofa. What met my gaze was a pair of soul-stirring fox eyes. Ling Wan was shaking my arm with a worried expression. Husband, what's wrong with you? You're sweating a lot on your forehead. Are you all right? Did you have a nightmare? I ignored Ling Wan's concern and glanced around the office. Then I looked at the calendar on the coffee table. Today is July 8th, 2023. Heh, I actually reborn to the third year of my marriage with Ling Wan. There are 99 days left until Ling Wan's 25th birthday. The reborn me was overwhelmed with emotions. I was extremely frustrated. Why did I have to be reborn to this point in time? Couldn't I have been reborn to school or 3 years ago? Divorce is such a hassle. As a virgin, becoming a divorcee the next time I get a marriage certificate, how unjust is that? Ling Wan looked at me with some disappointment. I quickly pushed her away, got up from the sofa, and adjusted my tie. With a hint of annoyance on my face, I asked in a low voice, "President Ling, what are you doing here?" Ling Wan's face showed a hint of hurt. "Hang, I missed you. Is it wrong of me to come see you?" If it were before my rebirth, if she said this to me, I would have happily embraced her. But now, seeing her face, it only reminds me of my miserable state before my death in my past life. Before I died, countless wounds all over my body, head, and mouth were constantly bleeding. But I endured all the pain and struggled to use my last bit of strength to call her. I wanted to hear her voice one last time. More than that, I wanted an answer, to ask her if she had ever loved me at all. The result was that the phone was still switched off. When I needed her the most, during my life's countdown, she was always absent. In the end, I swallowed my last breath filled with regret, resentment, and unwillingness. "President Ling, this is working hours. You shouldn't be in my office. Go back quickly, I have work to do." With that, I ignored Ling Wan's bewildered expression and walked straight to my desk, starting to browse the documents on it. Ling Wan bit her lip tightly, stomped her foot angrily, and the crisp sound of her high heels echoed in the room. She stubbornly walked up to me, shook my arm, and said in a soft, coquettish voice, "Ahang. Darling, what's wrong with you today? Aren't you usually happiest when I come to your office to see you?" I frowned, looked at her coldly, and said impatiently, "President Ling, this is work time. If you have nothing else, please leave." A look of astonishment appeared on Ling Wan's face again. Normally in the company, I always treated her like royalty, obeying her every word like a sacred decree. It was always her who reprimanded me impatiently like this. And this was the first time I'd been so unsympathetic and cold to her at the company. Ling Wan looked at me with a hurt expression, her eyes moist. She glared with her foxy eyes and said to me, full of anger, "Yi Hung, did you take the wrong medicine today? You're actually ignoring my concern for you and yelling at me. I advise you to apologize to me immediately, or you know the serious consequences if I get angry." This is Ling Wan's true nature, as long as I slightly disobey her. She will threaten me with all sorts of things. Whether she goes missing, goes to a bar to party and get drunk, orders male models to accompany her, or moves to her best friend Song Yuji's house. If it were before, I would definitely immediately admit defeat, buy her expensive gifts that she likes, and apologize to her in every possible way. Now I don't even want to be with her anymore. Let her be angry if she wants. What does it have to do with me? I didn't even look at her, shrugged, and said indifferently, "Whatever." With a nonchalant attitude, Ling Wan stamped her foot in anger, her face flushed red. "Yi Hung, you're going too far." Bang! Ling Wan slammed the door to my office shut and stormed off in a huff. I put down the file in my hand. I stared at a photo on the desk, a picture of Ling Wan and me taken during our freshman year of college, right when we first got together. In the photo, we were wearing matching couple outfits, white t-shirts and jeans. I had my arm around Ling Wan in the sports field as we took the picture. A happy smile spread across the young girl's face, her head gently resting on my shoulder. I had my arm around her with an equally bright smile, as if I were embracing my whole world. Back then, when we were just starting our relationship, we were so sweet and innocent. Ling Wan and I met in junior high school. She was in Class A, and I was in Class B. Not only was she exceptionally beautiful, but she also had excellent grades. Our homeroom teacher often praised her, and over time, I remembered her. I formally met her on that summer morning. We met on the stairs at the corner of the classroom doorway. I was going up, and she was going down. At the time, she was clutching her stomach with a look of pain on her face as she passed me. I stopped and, mustering up my courage, turned around and asked her, "Are you sick? Do you need any help?" She stammered for a long time. That. Finally, she blushed and told me that she was on her period and her stomach hurt a lot. Knowing the reason, my face instantly turned as red as an apple. Later, I don't know how, but I actually ended up buying her sanitary napkins and also bought her brown sugar ginger tea. I originally didn't understand any of this. It's just that my dad was usually at home, and every time my mom had her period, he would prepare these things for her, and over time, I remembered them too. After that time, we became friends. But it was at most just a greeting when we met, nothing more. I don't know why, but Ling Wan quietly walked into my heart. To be closer to her, I studied hard. Finally, I got into the same high school with her. Not only the same school, but also the same class. Back then, shy as I was, I still secretly admired her. Even though I used some tricks in my senior year of high school, so that we became desk mates in the next semester, I still didn't have the courage to confess to her. Until freshman year of college, I heard that a very outstanding, wealthy, and academically gifted student in class 3 was preparing to confess to her. I panicked. I confessed to her early on Valentine's Day, before anyone else could. To my surprise, she readily agreed. Later, after we officially started dating, I asked her about it. That's when I learned that she had actually liked me a little in her sophomore year of high school. In her senior year, she had written me 2 anonymous English love letters, but I had mistaken them for pranks and carelessly threw them away. The greatest happiness in life is when the person you like happens to like you too. During those 4 years in college, Ling Wan and I spent a lot of wonderful and happy times together while dating. Back then, Ling Wan loved me very much and always put me first. After graduation, we got married. After marriage, Ling Wan was like a different person. She wasn't as close to me as before. What's more, she repeatedly and mercilessly refused to be true husband and wife with me. I don't know when it started, but the person who held the top spot in her heart changed from me to Song Yujia. Even if I was sick and on a 4 drip, she would leave me to be with Song Yujia at the slightest call. The wonderful times we once shared felt like a lifetime ago. Life is short, and the past is, after all, the past. Happiness must be earned. Since Ling Wan is unwilling to be a true spouse to me, why should I waste my life on her alone? We, the Yi family, have been single-line descendants for 3 generations. Although we don't have immense wealth, we're not lacking either. The previous generations accumulated quite a fortune. If the family line ends with me, it would be a great disservice to our ancestors. After graduating from university, Ling Wan and I each contributed $5 million from our families to create this company called Hengyuan Co., Ltd. After more than 3 years of development, our clothing business has spread throughout the country, and now we are mainly focusing on overseas business. I am responsible for overseas business, and Ling Wan is responsible for domestic. In the company, she is the president, and I am the vice president. The company's annual net profit is now as high as hundreds of millions. If I divorce Ling Wan now, the ownership of the company is definitely a problem. Having deliberately provoked Ling Wan just now, I originally thought he'd make things difficult for my capable subordinates, just like before. I took a special trip to the sales department and found everyone working harmoniously. I was slightly surprised. Today, the sun must be rising in the west. She actually didn't make things difficult for my people. She didn't harass my subordinates. 9 times out of 10, she's probably brewing something and will cause trouble later. Whatever she's plotting, I'll play along to the end. She'd better have an affair with a young, hot guy or something, so I'll have enough reason to divorce her. Thinking about all this, I felt a bit annoyed. So, I stayed at the company until 10 o'clock, ignoring Ling Wan's repeated phone calls, and went straight to the Night Colors bar downstairs to drink and relieve my boredom. I sat at the bar, drinking the cocktail mixed by the bartender, watching the DJ beat the rhythm on stage. The dancers in crop tops danced sexy dances to the beat. In the Night Colors bar, with its singing and dancing, bright lights, and decadent atmosphere, the handsome men and beautiful women were either in groups of 3 or 5, or in pairs, having a great time. I looked around me again, and found myself all alone. I gave a bitter smile, feeling inexplicably pitiful and pathetic. Ever since I got together with Ling Wan, especially after we got married, I treated her like my everything, listening to her in all matters. She didn't like me having dinner and drinks with my friends, so I quit. She didn't like me associating with women, so I listened to her on that too, never contacting my childhood friend or any of the other women I knew. She didn't like me drinking or smoking, so I gave them all up. She even disliked me wearing brightly colored clothes, and I listened to her, abandoning them all. I silently sacrificed so much for her. In my past life, it all ended in a tragic car accident. The more I thought about it, the angrier and more frustrated I became, and I was currently drowning my sorrows in alcohol. Suddenly, my phone rang again. I glanced at it, but still didn't answer. Ling Wan had been calling me since 6 in the evening. She had already called me 56 times. But I didn't want to answer even one of them. What's wrong? Arguing with your wife? Hiding here alone? Drinking your sorrows away? I looked back and met Li Ying's clear eyes. I nodded and responded, yeah. I showed a hint of surprise. It's so late. Why are you here at nightfall too? Li Ying, looking dashing in a black leather jacket, pouted and naturally sat next to me. Li Ying's long, black hair cascaded over her shoulders, her charming face filled with worry. Ugh, don't even mention it. It's all my parents pushing me to get married, bothering me to the point where I have nowhere else to go, so I thought I'd come at nightfall for a little drink to relieve some stress. I didn't expect to run into you here, Brother Hung. Huh, looks like I really came to the right place. Li Ying patted my shoulder and said to me with a smile, Brother Hung, won't you treat me to a drink? I smiled slightly. It's not safe for a girl like you to be drinking so late. Let's just have a drink. I waved to the bartender and ordered Li Ying a freshly squeezed watermelon juice. Li Ying pouted, Brother Hung, you're stingy. I tapped her on the forehead with my index finger and said in an annoyed tone, You brat, since you call me brother, I have to be responsible for you. Otherwise, what if you get drunk and someone picks you up unconscious? I don't want to be chased and chopped by your big brother carrying a 3-meter-long machete. Li Ying couldn't help but burst into laughter. Ha ha ha, it's not as exaggerated as you say. Just thinking about her brother, my buddy Li Peng, that doting brother maniac, makes me shudder. When we were kids, I took Li Ying hunting in the mountains, and I just wasn't paying attention, and she fell, only dirtying her clothes. As a result, Li Peng, that idiot, saw his sister's dirty and miserable appearance. He grabbed a stick and chased me for miles. Hung-ji, please, just a tiny bit, okay? Li Ying gently shook my arm, pouting and acting cute. It was rare to see Li Ying displaying such a feminine side. I sighed inwardly. The snot-nosed little girl who used to follow me everywhere when we were kids had grown up. Seeing that I wasn't budging, the mischievous Li Ying deliberately leaned her head closer and closer to my face. I quickly pushed her head aside. Just then, a familiar voice came from behind me. What are you doing? Ling Wan, wearing a form-fitting blue sundress, quickly walked towards me. Yi Hung, I've called you so many times, and you haven't answered a single one. So, you're busy fooling around with other women here, boo-hoo. How can you do this to me? Ling Wan, with tearful eyes, pointed at me and began to berate me. I looked up and glanced at Ling Wan with annoyance. Ling Wan, what nonsense are you talking about? This is my... Sis dashed before I could even get the word out. Li Ying cut me off forcefully. That's right. Hinge and I are having an affair. What are you going to do about it? The hot-tempered Li Ying suddenly walked up to Ling Wan, completely abandoning the docility she had shown me just moments ago. She looked down at Ling Wan with a provocative expression. Beside your pretty face, TSK, TSK, TSK. You're not worthy of my hinge in any way. Since you dislike my hinge so much, hurry up and divorce him and give him to me. I love my hinge so much. The little girl looked at Ling Wan provocatively and even winked at me, as if to say, Hinge, I'm venting your anger. Praise me. Li Ying's ability to spout nonsense gave me an instant headache. A crowd of onlookers had already gathered to watch the drama. Ling Wan's face turned red with anger. Li Ying's words had completely ignited her. I watched her stare daggers at Li Ying, her hands clenched into fists as if she wanted to tear her apart. Sure enough, the next second, You shameless bitch, you actually dare to steal my husband in public. You little brat who needs a beating, you're itching for it, aren't you? Dare to snatch a man from Ling Wan. I'll beat you to death tonight, you little vixen. Li Ying jumped 3 feet high, taunting without the slightest fear. Come on, old woman. We'll see who beats who. Seeing the two women rubbing their fists and getting ready to fight, I quickly stood between them, pushing them apart, and shouting loudly, "Enough! You might not care about losing face, but I do. All right, stop it, both of you." The two women looked at me simultaneously. "Liang, stop making trouble. It's late. You should go home quickly and save your brother, Li Peng, from worrying about you." Ling bit her red lips tightly, huffing, "Brother Hung, this woman. She has no respect at all." I scolded her again. "Liang, that's enough. Don't say any more. Ling Wan is your sister-in-law. You need to respect her. You don't need to worry about the things between my wife and me. It's getting late. Hurry home." After I reprimanded her, Liang glared fiercely at Ling Wan and then stormed off. I left the money for the drinks on the counter, and Ling Wan and I left the Night Colors bar one after the other. Ling Wan and I have been married for 3 years. Liang had been studying abroad and only recently returned. Tonight was practically their first meeting. I don't know what got into that girl tonight, suddenly butting heads with Ling Wan. I guess she thought Ling Wan was misunderstanding her without rhyme or reason and got angry, so she deliberately tried to provoke Ling Wan. I've been drinking and couldn't drive, so I got straight into Ling Wan's car. We sat in silence. Ling Wan started to speak several times, then stopped herself. I leaned back in the seat and pretended to sleep. Our place was close to the Night Colors bar. The drive home took only 20 minutes. Once home, I turned on the light and had just changed into slippers in the entryway. Ling Wan suddenly hugged me from behind, her face pressed tightly against my back. "Stop. Husband, I'm sorry. I couldn't reach you all night, and I got anxious. That's why I misunderstood your relationship with Li Peng's sister." Ling Wan sobbed against me for a while. No wonder she was suddenly so obedient and silent behind me later at Night Colors. It dawned on her that my close friend Li Peng's sister was named Liang. At the same time, she knew my personality. I'm a traditional man and absolutely hate cheating. I am 178 meters tall and relatively handsome. Wherever I go, women are always giving me the eye. Whenever I encounter women like that, I always tell them directly that I'm married, or I act aloof and ignore them completely. I pried open Ling Wan's hands that were tightly wrapped around my waist. "Ling Wan, let's talk." I walked to the sofa in the living room and sat down. Ling Wan followed and sat next to me. I looked at Ling Wan, feeling a little apologetic. "Ling Wan, what happened just now was my fault. I didn't have time to explain it clearly to you. Liang had only just arrived a moment before you came. Her family is pressuring her to get married, and she's in a bad mood, which is why she was a little rude to you. She's a fiery young woman. Don't take it to heart. In my heart, she's like you, my little sister. I have a sister who is 10 years younger than me, named Yi Ruyu." After I explained everything to Ling Wan, I noticed that the frown on her pretty face immediately relaxed. Her palm-sized face instantly lit up with a smile. She gently leaned her head on my shoulder. "Honey, I believe you. Even if you hadn't explained it to me, I would still trust you. Anyone might cheat, but you definitely wouldn't. I know best how much you love me." Ling Wan's words left me speechless. Trust me? Huh. If she really trusted me as much as she's saying now, she wouldn't have argued so fiercely with Liang tonight. If I hadn't pulled them apart, they might have ended up in the hospital with bloody heads. Seeing my low spirits, Ling Wan spoke to me even more gently. "Honey, I called you so many times tonight, but you didn't answer." Her fair, boneless hand cupped my face, her expression full of concern. "Honey, you never used to not answer my calls. Tell me what happened. Why did you go to the bar alone to drink your sorrows away?" I stared fixedly at Ling Wan's face, a face that was devastatingly beautiful, flawless, and that I had loved for a full 13 years. Just thinking about my tragic ending in the previous life made me feel depressed. Looking at Ling Wan's exquisite face, I suddenly felt it had lost its appeal. I was silent for a long time before revealing a relieved smile and saying the words I had most wanted to say to Ling Wan since my rebirth. "Ling Wan, let's get a divorce." Ling Wan's face, which was moving closer to me, paused slightly. She widened her beautiful eyes in disbelief and asked in a trembling voice, Honey, why? You're kidding me, right? You love me the most. So how could you bear to divorce me?" Ling Wan's eyes welled up with tears, but she stubbornly held them back as she gently shook my arm and asked, "Ling Wan, I'm sorry. Our Yi family has been single-line descendants for 3 generations, and I can't selfishly let the Yi family line end with me. So, I'm sorry, Lingwan. I've decided to divorce you and remarry a woman who is truly willing to have children with me and spend the rest of my life with her. Suddenly, Lingwan started crying and laughing. With a carefree expression, she said, Ahang, it's just having a baby, right? It's not that hard. I was wrong before. I was being immature and never let you touch me. But I figured it out now. You're my husband. You're my man. You're the only person I'll ever love and the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. I'm willing to have your baby. Let's go, darling. Let's go back to the bedroom and make a baby now. I stared in disbelief, my eyes wide. I stood there dumbfounded as Lingwan took my hand and led me to the bedroom. It wasn't until she pushed me onto the bed that I snapped back to my senses. I quickly grabbed Lingwan's hand as she was anxiously trying to undo my belt, and I said with anger, Lingwan, are you crazy? You don't have to debase yourself like this to win me back. Lingwan's face was flushed red as she explained shyly, No, darling. Lingwan didn't have time to finish her sentence before her phone rang. We looked at each other, and I quickly urged her, Go answer it quickly. It might be your good friend looking for you again. Lingwan gave me a hard kiss on the face. Darling, be a good boy and wait for me to come back. We'll continue later. I stared at Lingwan's retreating figure as if I had seen a ghost. Lingwan was too abnormal today. Could it be the butterfly effect brought about by my rebirth that caused Lingwan to suddenly change her personality? Just as I was lying in bed, thinking back and forth, unable to understand, Lingwan suddenly had a loud argument with someone on the other end of the phone. I quickly got up and ran out to the living room to see who she was arguing with. Song Yujia, your stomach ache has nothing to do with me. I'm not your mother. I'm warning you for the last time. Song Yujia, from today onwards you are no longer my best friend. Whether you live or die in the future has nothing to do with me. Please don't call me again in the future. If you dare to harass me again, don't blame me for being rude. Disgusting thing. Die lesbian, I feel like throwing up just hearing your voice. After Lingwan hung up the phone, she continued to curse at the phone. Immediately after, she blacklisted Song Yujia's phone number. If it weren't for you, how could I have lost the husband I loved most in my previous life? Lingwan turned around and our eyes met. Lingwan's words had made me gape in astonishment. It took me a long time to find my voice. I pointed at her with a trembling voice and asked, Lingwan, you've also been reborn, haven't you? Tears streamed down Lingwan's face. I stood at the door, crying and laughing. I really am stupid enough. I should have guessed your odd behavior today long ago. Lingwan, since you've also been reborn, you should know very well that in the previous life, because you stood me up, I was distracted while driving and was killed by a truck while turning. Lingwan, I died young in my last life, probably thanks to you. So, in this life, I beg you, please let me go. Let's get divorced, so you can be with your precious best friend, Song Yujia, flying in tandem, a loving pair of lesbians. No, I don't want to. I don't agree to a divorce. Lingwan objected loudly, her emotions agitated. She rushed to me and grabbed my hand. Husband, let me explain. In the last life, after Song Yujia and I arrived at the airport, I regretted it. I immediately canceled the trip and left her on the spot. I didn't look back and rushed home in a frenzy. But as soon as I opened the front door, I received a call from the traffic police. He said, Excuse me, are you Yi Hang's wife? I said I was. He said your husband had a car accident on South Ring North Road and was dead. After hearing about your accident, I fainted on the spot, terrified. Later, the neighbors saved me by performing acupressure. Afterward, I dragged my sick body and, along with your parents, finished handling your funeral. Song Yujia was afraid something would happen to me and stayed by my side the whole time. I numbed myself with alcohol every day, and she drank with me. That night, while she wasn't paying attention, I quietly went to the rooftop of our building on the 59th floor. Just as I was about to jump, Song Yujia suddenly confessed to me loudly, crying. Slightly drunk, she said to me, Warner, you've lost Yi Hung, who loved you, but you still have me. Warner, do you know? Actually, ever since I first saw you when I was a freshman, I couldn't help but fall deeply in love with you. If it hadn't been for Yi Hong from Class 2 of the freshman year, who suddenly butted in and confessed to you, making you his girlfriend, maybe you would have been my girlfriend a long time ago. Wah. Ha 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 ha. Warner, do you know? To get you, I painstakingly concocted all sorts of reasons to trick you into not consummating your marriage with Yi Hong. Warner, you always listened to me so well, I was so gratified. Finally, heaven helps those who help themselves. That annoying pest, Yi Hong, is dead. Song Yujia was crying and laughing, talking to herself with a twisted expression, like someone with schizophrenia. She completely didn't notice the overwhelming hatred that flashed across Ling Wan's eyes. Song Yujia looked at Ling Wan with deep affection, her eyes full of love, coaxing her in an extremely gentle tone. Shuina, be good. Listen to me, come down. For now on, no one will bother us anymore, and we can be happy together. I promise I will love you more than Yi Hong and do better than him. Believe me, I love you more than he does. Be good, come on. Give me your hand. Burning tears from Ling Wan splashed onto my hand as she sobbed, continuing to explain. When Song Yujia confessed to me, I was so heartbroken I wanted to tear her to shreds, and it still wouldn't be enough to soothe the hatred in my heart. I regretted it so much I couldn't breathe. I regretted my own stupidity, regretted not suspecting her even a little. If it wasn't for her instigation, for her deceit, we would have been happy in our past life. Back then, when I was in college, she became my desk mate. One weekend, I was cornered by 3 thugs at the back gate of the school, and Song Yujia saved me when she happened to pass by. From then on, I simply regarded her as my best friend. I never expected that I treated her as my confidant, but she wanted me to be her woman. She hid it so well, I never suspected she was a lesbian. Later, I deliberately smiled broadly and reached out my hands to her. Song Yujia thought I had accepted her and unsuspectingly reached out her hand to me. Taking her by surprise, I used all my strength to jump off the 59th floor with her. We both died instantly. I took out a pack of tissues from my pocket, opened it, and pulled out one to wipe away the tears on Ling Wan's face. She looked at me with pleading eyes, full of affection. Husband, why? I'm sorry. I was really sorry in my past life. I was too stupid, always blindly believing her words. I believed everything she said. She often PUA'd me, saying that if you could abstain from touching me for 7 years after we got married, then you would truly love me. Only then would I give myself to you, and you would cherish me even more, and would be loyal to me for life. But her real goal was to make you unable to stand me and take the initiative to divorce me. Husband, you know that my parents were busy with their business, traveling all over since I was little. I was often home alone, and I've always been particularly insecure and lacking love. You are clearly the best person in the world to me, and also the husband who loves me the most. But I just can't help but overthink. I always listened to her and put you through all kinds of tests. I looked at Ling Wan, who was apologizing to me incessantly, my heart heavy. My heart was filled with mixed emotions. I never imagined that Ling Wan would actually commit suicide for me in her past life. And she even took that instigator, the lesbian who often PUA'd me in front of her, and jumped off a building together. Thinking about their ending in the past life, my resentment towards Ling Wan instantly lessened a lot. Ahang, I don't dare hope you can forgive me immediately. I beg you, don't divorce me. Give me a chance to change and make amends. Give me a chance to properly make it up to you. I promise from now on, everything will revolve around you. I'll listen to everything you say. I won't associate with any female friends anymore. From now on, at home and at the company, everything you say goes. Just give me one last chance, please. Before, I rarely told you, I love you. But truly, I really, really love you. In my past life, I was muddle-headed and often misled by her. In this life, I promise I'll never be muddle-headed again. I will love you wholeheartedly and love our little family. I looked at her with a complicated expression and asked the last remaining question in my heart. On your birthday, we were fine in the morning. Why did you suddenly stand me up? And why was your phone constantly switched off? I was frantic at the company. I couldn't find you anywhere. Later, Your assistant told me that you flew abroad with Song Yujia that afternoon. I wanted to ask you the reason, but my calls to your phone always went unanswered. Even before I died, when I wanted to hear your voice, the last call I made to you was still switched off. Recalling the final moment before my death in the previous life, a tightness remained in my chest, as if I would suffocate and die at any second. Lingwan broke down again, tears streaming down her face like a floodgate had opened. Wah! Husband, I'm sorry, it's all my fault. A week before, I told Song Yujia that I planned to give myself to you on my birthday. But on the day of my birthday, Song Yujia rushed into my office in a frenzy in the afternoon. She happily gave me 2 discount coupons for the Gucci Centennial Celebration event, which is my favorite brand. She said the opportunity was rare, and she had already booked the earliest flight to Italy. She said my birthday could be celebrated anytime. But the Gucci Centennial Celebration event, there's only one such grand event every 100 years. And the event only lasts for 3 days. She said it's better to go early to buy early and save money early. Husband, you also know how obsessed and how much I love this brand's bags. So I didn't have time to think carefully at the time. And I completely forgot about my previous agreement with you. My mind was full of images of how much discount my favorite Gucci series bag would have. I was so excited that I couldn't restrain myself, and I took my documents without thinking. I grabbed the spare suitcase from the office break room and rushed to the airport with Song Yujia. On the way, she said that there was something wrong with her phone and she couldn't play games. So she borrowed my phone to play games. I didn't think much about it and gave it to her. After we arrived at the airport, while waiting for boarding, I gradually calmed down. When I saw the couples cuddling together in the waiting room, I suddenly remembered my promise to you today. The more I thought about it, the more regretful I became. The more I thought about it, the more scared I felt. I shouldn't have abandoned my promise to you for my own selfish desires. I thought of the sweetness of our 4 years of love. When we were dating, we were still in college, and I didn't want to live with you, afraid of accidental pregnancy. I wanted to wait until our wedding night to be with you. But we've been married for 3 years, and you still love me as much as ever, spoiling me to the heavens. And yet I keep making excuses to avoid being intimate with you. Clearly, I love you so much, and sometimes I also want to be with you. I belatedly realized it and was filled with regret. I shouldn't have listened to Song Yujia all the time. She, Song Yujia, hates men. She is desperate to get married. What does that have to do with me? Why did I listen to her? Back then, she would often tell me that if you could endure not touching me for 3, 5, or even 7 years after we got married, that would be true love. But what I didn't know was that every time she was emotionally manipulating you, it was because she harbored hidden feelings for me. Her goal was to prevent you from touching me, so that you would be discouraged and give up, allowing her to take my place. But I foolishly thought she was really doing it for my own good. Wow, I was so stupid. Here, Ling Wan began to sob again, her eyes filled with disgust and hatred for Song Yujia as she cried. That's when it suddenly dawned on me. I regretted coming to the airport with her. As good as a Gucci bag is, I only have one husband. If I ruin the love my husband has for me, I'll never get him back. I could buy a Gucci bag anytime, even if it's not on sale. But if I break my promise to my husband and break his heart, if he loses his love for me, I'll never get that back. Ling Wan looked at me, her face full of guilt, as she cried. After that, I went crazy. I didn't even have time to say anything to Song Yujia. I snatched my phone from her hand, grabbed my suitcase, and ran frantically out of the airport. I completely ignored Song Yujia's shocked and bewildered expression behind me, and her heart-wrenching roar after she realized what was happening. I frantically hailed a taxi from the airport and rushed home. At that time, I grabbed my phone to call you, only to realize that the screen was completely black. I pressed the screen and realized that Song Yujia had drained the battery playing games, and the phone had shut down. Desperate, I borrowed a phone from the taxi driver to call you. But I called you 5 times in a row, and I couldn't get through. Woo-woo. I didn't know you had already had a car accident at that time. Ling Wan recalled the horrific scene of my car accident, hugging me and crying for a good while. Only then did she calm down enough to continue. I couldn't reach you using the taxi driver's phone. I suddenly thought of video call. Anyway, I just wanted to contact you as soon as possible to beg for your forgiveness. Seeing how anxious I was, the taxi driver kindly let me use his iPhone charger to charge my phone. But before charging, he warned me that his iPhone charger worked intermittently. He had already switched to using an Android phone and hadn't bothered buying a new iPhone charger. The nearly dead charger only managed to give me enough power to barely turn the phone on a second before I got out of the taxi. I didn't care about anything else at that point and rushed home. As soon as I opened the front door, I received a call from the traffic police saying you had a car accident. Why? You were gone. I was so scared that I fainted on the spot. If it weren't for Aunt Wong, our neighbor who happened to be passing by and pinched my philtrum when she saw me collapsed, I would have died right then and there. Ling Wan looked at me with wet, tearful eyes, pleading pitifully, Husband, please forgive me, okay? I can't lose you. If I lose you, I will die. I saw Ling Wan's eyes, already red and swollen from crying. I felt sorry for her and sorry for myself. Never would I have imagined that on Ling Wan's birthday, she had already fallen into Song Yujia's meticulously planned and calculated trap. Fortunately, she finally came to her senses. She abandoned Song Yujia and rushed back to find me. But it was too late. I had already died in a car accident. Song Yujia had been manipulating both Ling Wan and me, creating conflict between us, manipulating us back and forth. Her painstaking efforts were solely for gaining Ling Wan's favor, so she could possess her entirely. The most sinister and terrifying thing about this woman was, she always acted perfectly normal in front of both Ling Wan and me. When we occasionally argued, she would even mediate between us. Even I didn't realize she was a lesbian, let alone Ling Wan, who had so few friends. The reason Ling Wan was unconditionally good to Song Yujia was simply because Song Yujia was her only close friend. Song Yujia treated Ling Wan like an older sister caring for a younger sister. Whenever Ling Wan had a headache or fever, she would personally cook meals and bring them to her. She would secretly buy things Ling Wan liked and give them to her as surprises. Ling Wan had a cold and aloof personality. To those she wasn't close to, she gave off a distant and unapproachable vibe. But in reality, her personality was warm, understanding, and kind. Apart from being cold to me in that one aspect, she was very good to me in many other ways and very filial to my parents, respecting them a lot. If my parents had any health issues and she found out, she would go behind my back to accompany them to the doctor at the first opportunity, taking care of them busily at the hospital bed. She was also incredibly kind to my only younger sister. She would buy whatever my sister liked and give it to her. Even if it was expensive, she wouldn't bat an eye. For example, if it was a limited edition figurine costing tens of thousands of yuan, she would buy it without hesitation to make my sister happy. Our whole family liked her immensely. My parents know we are busy. They never pressure Ling Wan to produce an heir for our Yi family. They often tell me that Ling Wan is still just a young girl, and it's fine if she has children later, telling me not to put any pressure on her in that regard. They tell me to cherish her and take good care of her. My parents never knew that Ling Wan and I actually haven't yet. In reality, Ling Wan has always been a woman who valued her chastity. She never associates with any men other than me. Because of her beauty and good figure, she is often subjected to various forms of harassment from men. She usually responds with indifference. If she can't handle it, she either comes to me or calls the police directly. The reason she has always treated Song Yujia like a sister is because Song Yujia saved her life twice. Once was when they were freshmen in college. Ling Wan was blocked by 3 thugs at the back gate of the university. They wanted to assault her, and Song Yujia stepped forward and saved her. The other time was 2 years ago, when I was away on a business trip. Ling Wan was entertaining clients, and Song Yujia accompanied her. The potential major client they were negotiating with got drunk and started touching Ling Wan. Ling Wan avoided him several times, but the man became more aggressive, putting his hand on her shoulder and taking advantage of her. Ling Wan, unable to tolerate it any longer, threw a glass of wine directly in the client's face. The client became angry and picked up a bottle to smash it over Ling Juan's head. At that critical moment, Song Yujia directly shielded her, getting hit on the head and bleeding profusely. Since that time, Ling Wan has been even kinder to Song Yujia. Between Song Yujia and me, she mostly chose her, thus neglecting me. She simply considered her a good sister. But Song Yujia meticulously showed her meticulous care, only wanting Ling Wan to love her. When Ling Wan was little, her parents were busy with business. They often left her alone at home. She lacked a great sense of security and also lacked love. So she cherished Song Yujia's kindness to her especially. Thinking about the causes and consequences of things, I felt somewhat relieved. I couldn't just blame her for everything. Many times I was busy with work, often on business trips, and neglected her in life. Since it wasn't just her fault, I should give her a chance to make amends and also give myself a chance. I used a napkin to wipe away the tears from Ling Wan's face. With some helplessness, I tapped Ling Wan's nose with my index finger. Okay, stop saying silly things, like you can't live without me. Aren't I still by your side? Ling Wan's eyes lit up, and she hugged my arm tightly with both hands, bursting into tears of joy. Husband, I knew you were the best. Thank you for forgiving me. My expression softened a bit, and I snorted, "Humph. We'll see how you behave in the future. It's getting late. Good night. Get some rest." I gently pried Ling Wan's hands, which were tightly clutching my arm, apart. I waved to Ling Wan, turned around, and went back to my room to rest. Ling Wan instantly became radiant with joy. Okay, husband, don't worry. I will definitely behave well and guarantee to satisfy you. Ling Wan looked at my back and revealed a relieved smile. Ever since she was reborn, she had been preoccupied. She didn't know how to compensate me for what she owed me in her previous life. Now that we've talked it over, she felt like she had been enlightened. In the middle of the night, there was a loud bang, and suddenly there was thunder and lightning and wind and rain outside. Ling Wan cautiously, like a thief, snuggled in my arms and wouldn't leave until the sky stopped thundering. There was no way to get rid of her, so I deliberately scared her, saying that if she didn't go back, I would take advantage of her. But she was even better. She actually took the initiative to cling to me. I was so scared that I almost couldn't control myself. Time flies like an arrow. Unknowingly, 98 days had passed, and it was Ling Wan's birthday. I had just finished celebrating Ling Wan's birthday that evening, and was only halfway through cleaning the kitchen when I was almost driven to a nosebleed by Ling Wan, who had just finished showering and was wearing a captivatingly sexy negligee. Ling Wan, barefoot, struck a seductive pose against the kitchen doorframe. Her eyes were full of alluring silk as she asked me, "Husband, am I beautiful?" My eyes were glued to her hot, curvaceous figure as I numbly replied, "Beautiful." Ling Wan blinked her clear, captivating fox-like eyes. "Then do you want me?" I swallowed hard against my will, wanted to say no, but my body seemed out of control, and my mouth involuntarily said, "Want." Ling Wan walked towards me, gently untying my apron. The pleasant scent of jasmine from her recent bath instantly enveloped my nose. Involuntarily, I shuddered all over, and my lower abdomen felt like it had been electrocuted, instantly arousing me. Ling Wan gently pinched my chin and pecked my lips lightly. Then she breathed softly into my ear. "Husband, want a FCK? Ha ha. Then hurry up and come catch me." With that, Ling Wan brushed her skirt across my face. The gossamer thin skirt gently caressed my face, instantly making my heart itch uncontrollably. Then, barefoot, she scurried out of the kitchen, stopping at the doorway, turning back to beckon me with a finger. Her eyes were full of alluring silk, her voice bewitching as she urged me. "Oh, don't just stand there like an idiot, husband. Come catch me. Hee hee, if you catch me, I'm yours tonight. You can do whatever you want with me." A playful smile curved my lips. "Okay, you said it. Don't regret it later." My eyes lit up as I scrutinized Ling Wan. She was wearing a revealing white, sexy negligee. Her curvaceous figure, with its prominent bust and shapely rear, was on full display before me. I could no longer heed the warnings I'd given myself last night, that I needed to observe her for a while longer, that I couldn't forgive her too quickly, that I couldn't repeat the mistakes of my past life. But at this moment, I could no longer restrain myself. To hell with all the hesitation and planning. The woman I had loved for 13 years, the woman I had dreamed of possessing. Whether we divorced in the future or not, even if the sky fell today, I was going to fuck her. Like a starving wolf, I rushed to Ling Wan in a few strides and wrapped my arms around her from behind. I swept her up in my arms, carried her into the bedroom, and tossed her onto my bed. Then I leaned over her. Looking at her alluring red lips, I couldn't wait any longer. I kissed her passionately, savoring her. On this ordinary night, the union of our hearts and bodies was destined to make it extraordinary. Time flies, and 3 months have passed in the blink of an eye. During these 3 months, Ling Wan performed exceptionally well. It often made me feel like it wasn't real. Ling Wan was true to her word. Whether at home or at the company, she obeyed my every word. Whether in front of friends or clients, she gave me ample respect. She accommodated me in everything and put me at the center of everything. To better take care of me, she relinquished her position as CEO, willingly staying home to cook for me. Just as we were reliving the happy times of our dating period, an unwelcome and persistent ghost from the past intruded into our lives again. Song Yujia. This was the 18th time she had harassed Ling Wan in the past 6 months. The weather was particularly sunny today, perfect for a walk. Having just returned from my hometown after the new year, we hadn't been out for a good stroll in a long time. So, I took Ling Wan to Nanang Ancient Street in Haichang for a walk. We were barely halfway through when Song Yujia stopped us. "Waner, long time no see. I've missed you so much." Song Yujia, who is 1.7 meters tall and fairly pretty, confessed to Ling Wan in front of me with a sickly expression. Ling Wan tightened her grip on my hand, which was intertwined with hers, and gave me a reassuring look. She said with a look of disgust, "Song Yujia, are you seriously ill or something? Why do I run into you, this disgusting filth, wherever I go? If you want to be a masochist and find a lesbian, go bother someone else. My husband and I are very much in love. Don't bother us anymore, you're disgusting. Please go as far away as possible. I feel sick just looking at you." With that, Ling Wan held my hand tightly, didn't even look at Song Yujia, and pulled me past her. The unwilling Song Yujia stared intently at our intertwined hands. I could feel that she wanted to chop off my hand. Seeing us walking further and further away, she suddenly stopped Ling Wan with a mad scream. Ling Wan paused, and we both stopped and turned to look at her. Ling Wan's hands were slightly sweaty, and I could clearly feel her shaking with anger. Song Yujia, like a madwoman, disregarded the gazes of passers-by, scrutinizing the three of us. She shouted, questioning, "Ling Wan, why? We used to have such a good relationship. Whenever I called, you would abandon Yi Hung to come and find me. You used to love me. If you didn't love me, why were you always so careful and meticulous in taking care of me whenever I was sick? It's all your fault, you stinky man. If it weren't for you, Ling Wan wouldn't have abandoned me." Song Yujia pointed at me, her eyes filled with hatred, as if I were the one who killed her father. "Wow. Waner, if Yi Hung dies, will you come back to my side? Can we go back to those loving times we had in the past?" Song Yujia's morbid and obsessive thought process made my scalp tingle and my hair stand on end. The surrounding passers-by sized the three of us up with playful and amused gazes, making me feel even more uncomfortable. Ling Wan was practically crying from how outrageous Song Yujia's values were. Ling Wan sobbed softly, "Wah, honey, I'm sorry, it's all my fault." I kissed Ling Wan on the forehead. "It's okay. Honey, don't blame yourself. This isn't your fault. Be a good girl and wait for me. I'll take care of this lunatic." I turned around, my handsome face dark with anger, and strode up to Song Yujia. Pointing at her, I roared, "Song Yujia, the hell? Do you think I'm dead? Talking about how my wife would come back to you if I died. You stupid idiot, listen carefully. Even if I die, my wife will never be with a dead lesbian like you. Before, she was nice to you, just treating you as her best friend. She had no idea you harbored such dirty, such disgusting thoughts about her. Stupid idiot, go back to wherever you came from. Time and time again, endlessly harassing my wife. You must be seriously ill. Song Yujia, this is my last warning to you. If you dare to bother my wife again, I'll make sure you regret it. Ah, disgusting thing. If you have any shame left, get the hell out of here right now." I practically screamed the last word. I spat at Song Yujia in disgust. If it hadn't been for Song Yujia constantly stirring things up and gaslighting Ling Wan in my past life, I wouldn't have died so tragically. Ling Wan wouldn't have committed suicide for me, jumping for the 59th floor. Ling Wan quickly used her boneless, soft hand to caress my chest. Husband, don't ruin your health over such a perverted, filthy thing, or my heart will ache terribly. I tightly pulled Ling Wan into my embrace. Wife, it's all because you're too beautiful. That's why you attracted this neither male nor female filthy thing. I don't care. When we get home later, you have to properly compensate me. I looked at my wife's blushing face and deliberately teased her. My wife gave me a look of coy annoyance and gently punched my chest a few times with her fist. Oh, you devil. You're embarrassing me to death. I hate you. There are so many people watching. We were only concerned with flirting and teasing each other, completely ignoring Song Yujia's eyes that were bloodshot with anger, her face filled with resentment, and her burning desire to kill me. Just as I leaned in to whisper sweet nothings in my wife's ear, Song Yujia suddenly pulled a sharp dagger from the pocket of her beige trench coat. A fierce smile curved at the corners of her mouth. She raised the sharp dagger in her hand and shouted, "Yi Hong Dai!" I turned back to look at Song Yujia in startled confusion, forgetting to dodge. My wife was the first to react. She suddenly pushed me away forcefully, and as Song Yujia's raised dagger realized it was about to stab Ling Wan, she couldn't retract the blade in time because she was running too fast. Her dagger plunged directly into Ling Wan's left shoulder. Ah! Song Yujia screamed in terror. Wah! Wanner, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I wanted to kill Yihan, yeah. Ha ha! Wah! Why did you save him? Why? Why do you love him so much? Is he really that good? Is he worth you risking your life to save him? Ah! What exactly about him is better than me? Recovering from the shock, I hurriedly pulled Song Yujia away, who was frantically grabbing Ling Wan and questioning her. I shoved her hard to the side, and she fell flat on her face. I carefully examined the dagger stuck in Ling Wan's shoulder. Thankfully, it wasn't in too deep, but seeing the blood still flowing from her shoulder, my heart ached. Tears streamed down my face like a river bursting its banks. I gently held Ling Wan's body. My arms trembled uncontrollably as I held her. Wife, why were you so foolish? Be good. Hang in there. I'll take you to the nearest hospital right away. You'll be okay. I turned back and glared at Song Yujia, gritting my teeth as I said, Song Yujia, if anything happens to my wife, I'll make you pay with your life. Song Yujia sat slumped on the ground, dumbfounded, her eyes fixed on the dagger in Ling Wan's shoulder. Like a mad woman, she muttered to herself, constantly apologizing to Ling Wan. Woo-woo. Wanner, I didn't mean to. You ran into it yourself. Don't blame me. Woo-woo. It's all my fault. I'm sorry. No, it's not my fault. It's all this damn man's fault. Yi Hang's fault. Ha 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 ha. It's all his fault. Because of the blood loss, my wife's beautiful face paled at a speed visible to the naked eye. Her white trench coat was immediately stained red with blood on the shoulder. My wife showed a sickly smile and said to me weakly, Husband, I love you. You are my life, as long as you're okay. I just suffered a little injury. It's okay, don't worry. As she finished speaking, Ling Wan fainted. The woman who was always most afraid of pain and the sight of blood had used all her strength and courage to save me. At that moment, I wished I could cut Song Yujia into 1,000 pieces. I picked up Ling Wan and rushed to the nearby hospital. I ignored Song Yujia, who was chasing after me, screaming and wailing like a madwoman. At the hospital, the doctor examined Ling Wan. Fortunately, the knife Song Yujia had stabbed into Ling Wan's shoulder wasn't deep. The doctor gave Ling Wan a local anesthetic and smoothly removed the dagger. After stitching her up, Ling Wan quickly woke up. Seeing her awake, I was overjoyed. My constantly tense nerves finally began to relax. Wife, how do you feel? Does the wound still hurt? Ling Wan gave me a warm smile. Husband, I don't hurt anymore. Don't worry, I'm okay. Ling Wan gently touched my face, her eyes full of tenderness. You must have been scared, husband. This silly woman, injured like this, was comforting me instead. It instantly made my eyes red, and I couldn't help but hug her and sob uncontrollably. All the things of the past life were just fleeting clouds, and I didn't want to remember or condemn Ling Wan anymore. After all, I also had things I didn't do well. Let's just treat it as a dream. I only know that in this lifetime, between me and Song Yujia, Ling Wan resolutely chose me. She not only firmly chose me, but also risked her life to save me. That stab, if she hadn't pushed me away I might have been stabbed in the heart by Song Yujia and died on the spot. The woman I've loved for 13 years is willing to risk her life to love me. What reason do I have to back down and not continue to love her? Cherish the present. Cherish the person before you. Cherish this unwavering love between us in this lifetime. I believe we will continue to walk happily together. After I took Ling Wan to the hospital, some helpful bystanders called the police. Later, Song Yujia was taken away by the police near Nantang Old Street. Unfortunately, when we rushed to the police station, Song Yujia not only didn't face legal punishment, but was also successfully picked up by her father. The reason? A mental illness assessment report. It turned out that Song Yujia was recently diagnosed with intermittent mental illness. Mentally ill patients do not have the ability to control their behavior, so the law does not punish them. She may escape the law, but she won't escape my retribution. The grudges I had with her in my past life, plus the debt she owes for stabbing Ling Wan, I will definitely settle. So, behind Ling Wan's back, I used some means to exacerbate Song Yujia's mental illness. Soon her family sent her to a mental hospital for treatment, and I would go to the mental hospital to provoke her whenever I had time, causing her condition to worsen. When I didn't have time to visit her, I would ask the medical staff inside to take good care of her. Sister Lin, I've been busy with work lately and haven't had time to visit my sister. I'll have to trouble you to take good care of my sister. Nurse Lin, who weighed 200 pounds, smilingly accepted the generous red envelope in my hand. She readily agreed. Okay, President Yi, don't worry. Taking care of your sister is my responsibility. I guarantee you'll be satisfied. We exchanged a look, understanding each other without words. Song Yujia would never recover in this lifetime. She would spend the rest of her days in a mental hospital in a daze. While Song Yujia was living a life in the mental hospital that was neither human nor ghost. Ling Wan and I were living a life of honey and oil every day. The woman who had once been provoked and deceived by Song Yujia, the woman who wouldn't let me touch her. Ever since she revealed her true feelings to me on her 25th birthday, she was more addicted than I was, even more passionate. She would often change into various strange costumes to seduce me. My God, I had no resistance to her to begin with, especially since she put in so much effort to please me. I was even more obsessed with her. Our bodies were very compatible. We were soulmates. Every time we were entangled, we only needed a look in each other's eyes, and we couldn't help but want more. Indulgence. Originally, we planned to enjoy our life as a couple for a few more years. But the babies arrived so quietly. Quintuplets. A year later, Ling Wan, husband, come help me quickly. The eldest and second sons have poop. Wife, don't worry, I'm coming. But I had just finished changing diapers for the eldest and second sons. My wife's voice sounded again. Husband, I'm going crazy. Come save me. The daughter pooped on my hand. All right. I'm coming. After we took care of the 5 children, we collapsed on the ground, exhausted, and looked at each other, crying tears of happiness. Taking care of children is too hard. Husband, let's experience taking care of the children ourselves for half a day this weekend. Or should we cancel it? Let's just leave these 5 little brats to the nannies. We'll just help out occasionally. My eyes immediately lit up, and I happily embraced Ling Wan. Okay. I think that's a good idea. Whatever you say, wife. I think 4 nannies at home are still a bit few. Should we hire 2 more? Ling Wan leaned against me like a little bird, nodding obediently. Okay, whatever you say. I cherish my wife, and I couldn't bear to touch her for half a year after she gave birth. Seeing her rosy cheeks and her alluring figure, I whispered in my wife's ear, Wife, since you've been pregnant, you made me a monk for 13 months. Shouldn't you compensate me properly? My wife's pretty face blushed shyly, and what she said next shocked me. Husband, let's go. Quick, let's go to the hotel right now. Wow. I miss you so much too. I want to be with you. I was shocked for a second, handed the children over to the housekeeper and the nannies, and my wife and I immediately rushed to the nearest hotel. Great, with the children taken care of. My wife and I resumed our own happy life. The end.